Hi everybody, this is Dark Storm Comic Reviews here with a review on Green Goblin Issue 12. And yeah, let's get into it. So, as you can see in this first picture, the buildings are being destroyed and stuff. There's smoke coming out of the buildings, and it's just, everything's going crazy in New York right now. And that's because of the Onslaught event, which is basically, the Onslaught event is basically this guy named Onslaught took control of some Sentinels, which are like these giant robots that are designed to like kill superhumans and mutants. So he took them over, he programmed them, and now he's programmed them to like destroy New York and invade New York, and so that's why everything's kind of going crazy right now. But anyways, we get to our main story with Phil Urich, who happens to be the new Green Goblin at this point in time. We see him just kind of witnessing the events and going, this is crazy, this is insane, like what's going on here? Robots are invading the city. We can see his Uncle Ben here, it's like trying to find a signal. He's having trouble finding a signal to report his facts, because he is Ben Urich is a news reporter, so yeah, for the Daily Bugle. Anyways, we see, I really like the spreadsheet, by the way, with the, sorry for the wind, guys, with the Sentinels walking around. They're kind of just destroying New York as they go. See, this guy is very shocked when he gets out of his taxi. You got the people, like, running around. Then you got, sorry for the wind, guys. There we go. Yeah, okay, then we got, like, the Sentinels flying around. It's a pretty cool scene. Pretty awesome scene, I like it. Really sorry for the wind, guys. But anyways, we get to this scene, and Ben's like, Phil, we need to get back to the office. I need to go report on some facts. And Phil's like, sure thing, Uncle Ben. And Phil's like, because all the superheroes are kind of trying to fight the Sentinels right now, because they're literally taking over New York. And Phil's like, yeah, I could go out there, but, like, why would I bother, I'm the Green Goblin. I'm not, like, Spider-Man or any of those, like, really popular superheroes. Like, why would I waste my time? So anyways, they go back to the office, to the Bugle, and, you can see everything's pretty hectic there. Daredevil's battling some Sentinels, and you got, like, a Sentinel attack on Four Freedoms Plaza, which is the home of the Fantastic Four. It's pretty crazy. But we get to Phil, and then we get to his friend Meredith and his crush Lynn Walsh, is the blonde chick right here. That's his crush. They're kind of talking to each other, and it's funny because Lynn's all about like the news and the reports of what's going on, and then it's funny because Meredith is the only one who actually cares about Phil. Like right here, that's gonna be okay. And obviously, Lynn here only really cares about the facts and the news reports, and then we get some more stuff over here. They're reporting about the New Warriors and how they've been joined in their attempts by some other superheroes to retake the bridge. Because I guess Sentinels were taking over the bridge, including Darkhawk, which is another one of my favorite superheroes. I really like Darkhawk. He's lesser known, but he's pretty cool. And Phil makes a funny joke about the fact that, really, they're bringing the Steel Spider in here? Like, he's such a loser. Why would anybody bother bringing him on? We're just like, come on, Phil, give him some credit. He's pitching in at least. Like, give him some credit. But anyway, so Phil's kind of going back and forth into this issue about, like, I should step in, I could step in to help save the people, to help take down some Sentinels, but again, I'm the Green Goblin, like, why would I stand a chance? Like, how could I help? And then it's funny because Mr. Robertson comes up and he goes, hey, young man, you want to help? And he sends him to, like, the copier's room to make some copies, and Phil's like, really? Really, this is how you want me to help? But, I don't know, it's just a funny scene. And then we get to the next part, and everything starts to shake up in the Daily Bugle newsroom, I guess. And it turns out that the reason it's all shaking up and it looks like there's an earthquake is because there's a Sentinel outside, and he starts like just beating on the building. So starts punching the building, and it makes the electricity go out in the building. Everybody's kind of freaking out. J. Jonah Jameson's like, what's going on here? I need some news reports, and I need some facts. So Meredith, being not Meredith, I'm sorry, Lynn Walsh, the blonde one. She's very into her job, like that's kind of her character. She's really into her job, really nothing else. She just really cares about her job. She's really into her career, which kind of makes her come off as kind of selfish at times. But anyway, so she goes up to the roof because she wants to get like a better angle of the Sentinels for her story and everything. And Meredith and Phil are like, are you crazy? You're gonna die out there. Like, don't be stupid. But she doesn't really care. She just wants her facts and her stories. So the Sentinels are flying out in New York. There's more destruction and chaos going on. It's a pretty cool little scene here. We get a Sentinel right here. Phil and them are kind of on the roof watching. Lynn points out that you can see like the Avengers Quinjet and the Human Torch streaking in the sky. And she talks about how all the superheroes are coming out to fight the Sentinels, except for Phil, of course, and he's getting pretty bummed about that. And so Meredith and Lynn go back to the building, but Phil's like, I'm going to chill out here for a little while longer. And yeah, and so yeah, Phil's just up on the roof, and Meredith and Lynn go back down. He's kind of contemplating, like, well, again, like, why should I risk my neck out there? I'm going to get creamed. I'm the Green Goblin. Yeah, I'm not like Spider-Man or Daredevil or any of those guys. But anyways, he, like, whips out his controller. He's like, I might as well give it a shot. I may not be as big and popular as they are, but I might as well put my 2 cents in. So he calls up his glider. Glider flies down. He gets suited up. He goes, I may just be a wannabe, but I might as well give it a shot. And he puts on his mask, and he, like, gets a electric zap, because again, I talked about this in my earlier issue reviews. Whenever he his mask is like the source of his powers. So, well, that and like the chemical bath he took when he became the Green Goblin with the green. So like the green chemicals in the mask, but the mask is what really gives him like right here. It's like the source of power. So whenever he puts it on, he gets like this electric zap to his brain, and then like supercharges his reflexes and his abilities. That's how he gets his super strength and everything. It's his little Green Goblin mask right here. Yeah, anyways, he gets the electric zap, and he becomes the Green Goblin. The Sentinel notices him, and he flies into action. And we get this really cool scene of the Goblin flying into action, throwing some pumpkin bombs down. It's a pretty cool scene. Of course, the pumpkin bombs don't do any damage because they're just concussion grenades, and the Sentinel is like a really tough giant robot, so of course it doesn't really do anything. Sorry for the glare, but yeah. Yeah, it's a cool scene nonetheless. Doesn't do any effect to him, so the Sentinel fights back. And Phil decides, okay, I'm going to try to use my other weapons. He tries to use his like what are they called? Razor bats. Yeah, tried to use his razor bats, but of course they don't really do any damage either. They just like barely scratch the Sentinel, so they're kind of useless. And so then the Sentinel just keeps zapping at him, trying to get Phil to... We're trying to kill Phil, technically, trying to defeat him. And Phil actually gets kind of lucky at one point because he starts using his lunatic laugh, which basically, what's special about his version of the Green Goblin, about Phil's version of the Green Goblin, is that he has like this laugh that's like a very like high-pitched sonic attack where he can laugh really loud and he can like shatter a person's eardrums or it can like just really affect anybody. And you can see when he starts laughing or using his like sonic pitched laugh attack or lunatic laugh, he makes the Sentinel like shudder and move and rumble and stuff like that. So it actually looks like it's working and things are turning up for him. But then the Sentinel like throws a punch at him and it like knocks him all the way down to a nearby alley. So you can see here. See him laughing. Sentinel's kind of shaking. And then he punches him, and then he goes down to this alley right here. So anyways, Phil's like, I'm dead, I'm screwed, I'm toast. The Sentinel's going to spot me, and he's going to take me down. But then Phil realizes that, what, if I ditch the mask, maybe he won't see me, because again, the mask is the source of his powers. And the Sentinels are only programmed to kill superhumans and mutants, so they don't really care for, like, helpless humans. So he ditches the mask. The Sentinel leaves him alone because he's like, oh, well, he's just a regular human. He's just lost his powers, so it really doesn't matter now. And Sentinel just leaves him alone. But then we get this really cool scene where Phil's just kind of contemplating things. He's like, I failed. The moment it counted the most, I failed. Like, this could have been my big victory, but I failed. I screwed up. I mean, there's nothing I can really do now. Like, I've always been a failure. I've always been a loser. Like, my parents think I'm a loser. My brother thinks I'm a loser and a failure. Like, the only one who's really had faith in me is my Uncle Ben. Ben Urich, his uncle, who gave him, like, the Daily Bugle job and stuff. It's right here, by the way. Let's see, we can see his brother here. See his parents. And, and he's like, it was kind of my fault in the first place, too, that my Uncle Ben got captured by some bad guys, and this is back from the first issue, which I also reviewed, so y'all can check that out. But yeah, his Uncle Ben, in the first issue, his uncle he kind of blabbed to some guy. Well, him and his friend Fast Freddy Glacier blabbed to some kind of neighborhood thugs about the Green Goblin warehouse and the equipment where he got all his powers. So Rico and the other people, the gang members found out about that warehouse, and his Uncle Ben was there, and they captured him. And the reason why Phil even became the Goblin in the first place was to save his Uncle Ben. Like, that's the whole reason why. So he kind of goes back into that backstory, and we get to see all the events that's led up to this. Him fighting more of the bad guys, him fighting his encounters with Hobgoblin, Rhino, and Angel Face, which I also covered. So it's a cool moment because he's kind of contemplating I'd really hate to lose being the Goblin. I really loved this. I love being the Goblin. It was a load of laughs. It was so much fun. I'd really hate to lose it. And he's kind of contemplating he's kind of I'm such a failure. I'm such a loser. I'm not like Spider-Man or any of those other guys. Why should I get back in the fight? There's no chance. He talks about how Spider-Man is just so professional when it's and Daredevil's like the man without fear. How is he able to do any of this without superpowers? How are these guys able to stand up to the pressures of being a superpowered person and I'm not? I don't understand how these people do it. And he's maybe it's because Daredevil and Spider-Man and those other guys just face their fears. So Phil decides to finally get up, finally stops being all depressed and sad, and then he's like, you know what? I might as well go out swinging. So he gets his Green Goblin mask, puts it on, and he goes, I'm Phil Urich. I am the Green Goblin. Puts it on, and he starts doing his Goblin laugh, and he gets right back into action. It's cool because he's fighting the Sentinel, and the Sentinel's trying to fight back. I'll get a better view of it. So the Sentinel's firing a blast at him. And Phil or Green Goblin comes up with a plan to defeat the Sentinel, and that's by, because obviously his weapons aren't working, his pumpkin bombs don't do anything, his razor bats surely don't do anything. So the only effect he really has had on the Sentinel was his lunatic laugh. So Phil kind of rounds a block, the Sentinel fires a blast. The Sentinel's, trying to figure out where he is, he's confused. Phil makes a turnaround. He circles the block of this building, basically. That's about it. He just circles the block of this building. And Phil's idea, basically, is to... Because, his weapons obviously aren't working, right? His weapons aren't working. Also, I forgot to mention, his glider was damaged when the Sentinel, punched him. So the glider is also damaged. It's not working as well as it used to. So Phil's one and only shot to win his victory is to strap the pumpkin bombs to his already damaged glider. And then, as you can see... He ejects and sends that glider into the Sentinel. You can see here. And the pumpkin bombs attached to the glider explode, and it takes out the Sentinel. So, I'm going to go through all this again. Flying away. See him circling around here. Flying. Gets the attention of the Sentinel. Ejects from the glider. Glider smashes into the Sentinel. Sentinel explodes. And as you can see, this is an important part of the book. You can see a piece of debris from the Sentinel actually smashes into the Goblin's mask. And it's cool because Phil actually, out of all this, well, he's had a couple of victories, but this is his first true victory in the entire series. And to defeating the Sentinel. Of course, it's not going to change Onslaught, because Onslaught's this huge deal. But, he's hey, I got a little victory for myself. This is my first huge victory as the new Green Goblin. But sadly, that victory comes at a cost, because the debris I showed you guys earlier, where it hits his mask right here. Yeah, sorry for the glare. The debris, it ends up damaging its mask, and it's broken. His mask is remember guys, that's the source of his powers. Supercharging his reflexes and his strength. So without that, he's pretty much useless as the Green Goblin. So, could this be the end of the new Green Goblin? Which of course, is spoiler alert, it is. This is the last issue that I'm going to review. It's going to tie up our reviews of the Green Goblin series. So, yeah, look forward to the final issue of Phil Urich's heroic journey as the new Green Goblin. But yeah, anyways, about this issue, and I'll sum up the whole series on my final issue review of the series, but about this one issue in particular, I thought it was good. I thought, I haven't really read the Onslaught event, so I don't really know anything about that. I've got like a Spider-Man issue about the Onslaught event too, along with this Green Goblin one. But again, I don't really read many other Marvel comics, to be honest. I really read Marvel more for Spider-Man and for Darkhawk and other more obscure heroes. But I like this one issue. I like how it got into Phil's sort of like, he was questioning whether, okay, should I go out and should I take him down? I like how he was doubting himself a lot. Like he was like, I can't do that. I'm just the Green Goblin. I'm just a wannabe. I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm just a loser. I'm a failure, because that's how Phil has always been. He's a character who's in it for himself. That's the only reason he really stuck with the Goblin gig after he saved his uncle, was because it was fun. He wasn't doing it for any responsibility or any superheroes like Spider-Man or Captain America would. No, he was doing it for fun, like for the enjoyment of being the Green Goblin. And he's always a character who's doubted himself too, and being a loser and a failure and all this other stuff. And he hadn't had the best of luck, so to see him doubt himself and see him finally rise up and take the... I can go back to the page too real quick, because I kind of want to discuss a little bit of this. Where is it? To see him, yeah, right here, doubt himself and kind of try to pick himself back up and be like, you know what, I may not be the coolest hero around, I may not be the most popular. To see him pick himself back up and finally take on the mantle and take some responsibility for his actions and for who he is, like that's a good turning point in the series, because Phil Urich has always lacked responsibility as being the Green Goblin. Like he's never had that calling, such as Spider-Man, to really be responsible and to really take action for his own powers and abilities. But in this, he actually takes a stand and puts on the mask and actually goes out and fights for the right reasons. He doesn't just do it for glory or money or riches or fame. He actually does it for the right reasons, and that's a cool turning point for his character. Because he's always been, like I've said, he's always been more of a self-centered character who won't really only care about his own ambitions, not really much for taking the hero cause for the right reasons. So that was a cool turning point. And yeah, the art was good and the action was good, and yeah, I thought it was a good issue. I thought it had some good character stuff with Phil about him doubting himself. I liked how they kind of portray Lynn as like very into her story, which kind of makes her come off as kind of a jerk, at least in my opinion. You can tell Phil and Marita fit a lot more well together than him and Lynn do. Lynn's the blonde chick, Marita's the girl with the black hair. But yeah, it's a good issue. And also Phil scored his first victory. Yeah, so that was cool too. He scored his first victory against a giant opponent, the Sentinel. I mean, that's like his first and sadly only victory he's ever going to get as this heroic Green Goblin, because as I've said before, issue 13 is the last issue, and we are officially done with Phil's, for the most part, officially done with Phil's story. There are other comics that I could cover with Phil, but I'm kind of ready to move on to other stuff. But anyways, yeah, it was a good issue. I enjoyed it. Yeah. This has been Darkstorm Comic Reviews, signing off.